Deborah.
Started and I'm drinking my Truly. Hello.
So we're gonna start off again. We're not even getting sponsored for these Truly ads that you keep
Good evening.
dropping in there.
I know we're looking for sponsors, aren't we?
We are looking for sponsors. So Truly, if you want to sponsor the show, talk to Deb because she brings one to every show.
Yes. Well, usually it's
Is it in a koozie?
it's in a koozie. It's in my mermaid koozie.
All right. You know, you didn't even have to say it was a mermaid koozie. I just guessed. I knew. I'm like, of course it's a mermaid thing.
Of course.
I've never been to your place, but I imagine that you could probably find a mermaid in every room. Is that accurate?
Yep. I
Kitchen?
got I my kitchen, I have many mermaid things in my kitchen. So my coffee, my Keurig um coffee thing next to it. I have, like one of those dishes where you cook and you lay just just forgive me. I don't cook. I don't know what it's
I was
called,
gonna
but
say you've mentioned that multiple times on the show that you don't cook. So I'm fascinated by how you're going to describe these tools. Go ahead.
there
It's
it's
like
like a
it's like this thing that you
it's
use and
like
you put it in something, you scoop stuff. Like what is that thing
it's
called?
like a plate looking thing that goes next to the stove. Like once you're stirring something and you can set it on there so it doesn't get all over
Yeah, it's
your
like a spoon
counter.
holder.
Yeah, okay. It's a spoon. Thank you. Spoon holder. I have a mermaid shaped spoon holder next to my coffee mug, but it's for my little stir when I put my creamer in my coffee.
Okay.
So I
What about
have
the
that.
bathroom?
What?
What about the bathroom?
Oh, I have
That's all we needed to know. That's okay. We don't. Your reaction said it all. We don't need to go into it.
every single hey, my apartment's not big, but everywhere you go, there's I mean, it's not like pukey, like overdone, I don't think, like throw up. It's not like mermaids threw up everywhere, but it's just splashed everywhere. Very people who walk in, first of all, I get lots of compliments. People who walk in say, "Oh my God, this is a cute place. I like how you decorated it. You have a teal theme going on. Oh, look, you have a mermaid theme going on." And I have
Okay,
some
I
friends who
hold
are
on.
really harsh critics and they've given me positive reviews. So I'm very confident that
Okay,
my
that's good. No, it's good to have confidence, even if it's somewhat delusional, because I
and
feel like
you don't like it. You don't live here. I live here. So I love my mermaid shit.
hey, good for you. No judgment as far as how you want to live, but from the outside, I mean, let's be honest though. The way you kind of brush past that whole interaction when people come to your apartment, I think there is some things left out because I feel like it was like, oh, look at this teal decor and look at this and this. Oh, and mermaids. You brush past it because what I think is happening is, oh, look at this teal stuff. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, mermaids. Like I feel like you left something out there. I feel like there's like an inflection that they're giving that you are kind of like brushing under the rug.
Negative.
All right.
They're lying.
Oh, they're lying.
Mermaids aren't for everybody. Well, and I always joke. I say,
No, I
yeah,
feel like they're not for most people, but go ahead.
I always joke anyway and say, yeah, I'm 12. A 12-year-old lives here. Like, I don't.
Even a 12-year-old's like, it's a
That's
lot
how
of
it's
mermaids.
decorated. The most probably dramatic thing. I'll move my if anyone's watching on
Oh,
YouTube.
here we go.
On
Taking a
my
tour.
couch, there's a mermaid tail blanket there.
Okay, so let me can I
Over
describe this for
there
anybody
across
who's just
the way.
listening? I'll
Yeah.
describe it for anybody who's just listening. It looks like Deb ran over a mermaid with her car and then brought the body back to her apartment and laid on the couch. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
All right. I'm just trying to give a visual to everybody.
It's always there.
She pancaked a
I'm a
mermaid.
freak and I leave my apartment as is. So like if I'm on my couch and you can lay in it, it's like a sleeping bag. You can put like your legs in and
No,
I'll
yeah,
like I'll lounge around and like if I'm cold, I'll use it. But if I get up, I fix it and leave it just like that before I go to bed.
okay, so you just hop around your apartment?
No, I just I lay there.
No, no, hold on. Didn't you say you'll
Like,
like go
come on.
around?
If anyone knows me, I'm way too clumsy to do that. That thing would have been ripped already and destroyed, and I like would destroy my floor, falling all over the place. So, no, I
It
just
turns
like
into like a mermaid horror movie where you're not
exactly,
supposed to have feet, and then all of a sudden your feet just rip right through the tail. It's like, what just happened? Yeah, not great.
exactly.
All right. Well, I never I should know better. I apologize to everybody who's watching or listening to this because I can't help myself but make a dumb mermaid comment, and I should know that we're gonna spend the first 2 minutes on mermaids when I do that. My bad.
You want
That's on me. What
I
Deb?
don't mind. We could talk
No, I
about
know. I know that's why the conversation lasts for like 2 or 3 minutes because you love it. Because anytime she has a chance to talk about mermaids or show off her mermaid cups, is it's like the night's complete. What better way to end the night,
Steel
right?
plates. What
Teal
else?
plates. Oh,
Yes.
we're getting the rest of the tour.
Okay, moving on.
It's like
People get it. They get it. They understand.
I think so. Well, now here we go. It's too late because what's that? There's that one store. I think it may have gone out of business. Is it Charming Charlie's in Folsom? I have to ask my wife. It's a place that basically it's a store that's basically color coded. It's like each section, it's like all the same color.
Oh, I would love that.
If you're looking for teal, you're not going to find it because Deb literally robbed that store and shoved it all into her apartment. So if you're looking for any color teal thing, it's gone. It's gone because you bought them out.
My toaster, like my toaster is teal and I barely use it, but it's teal, so
So let me ask you, what's your favorite color, Deb?
black.
Black.
Favorite color to wear is actually black, but my favorite color for like to put around my apartment and decorate is teal.
Which is kind of awesome because technically your school colors are teal, right? Is that considered teal?
Yeah, it's
It
teal.
is teal, right? Okay.
Okay, it's great.
Is that why you work there? So I gotta find a school. The first thing on the top of the list, like it's okay, it's a pretty good school, but really I gotta
Mascot
find the mascot
color,
colors.
great. I got really lucky actually. When I got that interview, I didn't even know where that school was. I just applied, I was applying everywhere when I
Yeah.
first moved back. And it was funny because at the time I was working at an elementary school doing PE, and I remember sitting in my car in that at the elementary school. I don't know if I just got done working or if I was about to walk in, and I got an email saying, "Hey, come in for an interview, Sheldon." And I replied, "Okay, cool." And then later, and I'm like, where is that? Where is Sheldon? Okay, it's literally in the backyard of the elementary school that I was at.
Oh, that's funny.
It's literally right next door. And I was like, "Oh, there it is."
That's awesome.
So I didn't know the mascot. I knew nothing about. I was new to Sacramento. Knew nothing about. And I think this was before my teal kick. It just kind of, and it wasn't because of my mascot, the Sheldon colors,
Sure.
but it just kind of like grew, and I was like, "Oh, this is convenient." So
Interesting. What was it before that?
I don't know. I feel like I didn't know who I was before that. Now I do.
Not even sure what to say. This is a simple conversation about colors, and you're like, I mean, before teal, talk
And
about
now
before teal, I was a different person. Like, oh my gosh, it's weird. I like blue, and I still like blue, even when I figured out who I was. I still enjoy
yeah,
the color blue.
you've evolved, but you still enjoy the color blue. It's good.
Maybe I haven't evolved. Maybe I'm the same. Maybe I'm still like 12 years old. I don't know. Depending on the person, depending on the day, if you ask them, they may agree with that. So, all right, we've spent enough time on colors.
Everyone knows I like teal. If you're just watching my background, I got my teal ocean paintings.
Do you ever feel? Do you ever feel like we're giving? Maybe this is intentional. Do you ever feel like we're giving the blueprint to any future future guys that are pursuing the affection of you? Do you ever feel like we're just giving them the blueprint? It's like, hey, dummy, if you don't listen to our podcast, you can't figure out this out. Like we're literally giving you the answers. What's her favorite color? Teal. She loves mermaids. I mean, what else? She loves One Tree Hill.
I have to share something.
I'm
Wasn't
doing
gonna
all the
share.
work for you clowns. I'm doing all the work for you clowns.
Well, someone got the memo. I was gonna share. I wasn't gonna share this, but I'm going to now.
Oh, all right. Nice.
So, been on a few dates, and this guy got me flowers, but I have to show you the vase.
Oh, I was
Okay,
gonna say yeah, I was asking about the flowers. They are not
you got the
needed.
memo. So the vase
Look at that.
is
Very
a
nice. He was listening. And it's a mermaid.
it's a mermaid.
Look at that. A teal mermaid. What's better than that?
So
I was
trying
wondering because I saw the flowers
in the
just
background.
well, yeah, it's like
You're
aiming
like,
at your face. It's like right at your face right now.
need to move it.
You
Okay.
do whatever you want. I'm just saying, I've never seen that before. Usually it's the wine rack, which I'm assuming is behind it.
Dude, I'm out of wine. It's so sad. So my wine rack is gone because there's nothing in it.
This has
Moved
gotten
it. I
depressing.
moved it. I put my teal pumpkin there,
Very nice.
and now the flowers are there because and then they're alive still. I don't know how they're alive, but they're
That's a good
alive still.
question.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, hey, there we go. That was not a segue at all. I didn't know that. So look at that. That's we've been doing this
When you said
podcasting for
that,
a
I'm like,
while.
I have to. I have to. Yeah.
Hey, well, shout out to that guy. You got the memo. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. We'll move on. So, hey, so I'm gonna bring this up because this will be our the episode that airs after we did the quiet quitting. Interesting. People have thoughts on quiet quitting. Didn't realize that was going to be
I
the
was gonna say,
response.
I was gonna start off by saying this, but we started talking about teals and colors and how I love mermaids. But I was gonna say, Josh, we did it.
We did it.
We finally offended somebody. This is great. This is the best news ever because you know you made it when you make people upset.
Oh,
People
and
people that you don't know. I love it. I love the controversy about quiet quitting.
well, here's the thing. Here's the issue. Maybe this kind of goes into what we because we're going to talk a little bit about pet peeves because we didn't have we had to switch the plan up a little bit. We had a guest lined up, and unfortunately, they weren't able to make it because some stuff came up. So this is kind of just a shoot from the hip episode. But we already did some pet peeves because that's what we do. We talk about pet peeves all the time. Um, but yeah, no, we released that episode, Quiet Quitting, and it was funny. You don't even know the worst one that we got. I saw that later last night. Um, but the funny thing was, so people had thoughts about it. Nobody was super offended, but people did have thoughts about it, and they
People had
were
strong thoughts with what I read about one of our clips. But anyway, go ahead.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. On are you talking about on YouTube?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or on one of the reels. I don't know which one it was. I forget.
So on YouTube specifically, it was we like I've said this before. We post the shorts, which are basically just our reels
So,
on YouTube. It's a similar type thing, but the way that's set up is you get a lot more engagement on those. We get a lot more views, and I'll just be honest. When we post clips, I post clips from the past. I post current clips for that week's episode. I post all these different clips, and I try to do it as much as I can because it's we're building up some momentum with it, and it is funny because they have a like, a thumbs up, and a thumbs down button. It never fails. Like we get like 3 or 4 dislikes, which I always thought was kind of funny. Doesn't bother me, but I'm like, why would you even click dislike? It's like we're not even saying anything controversial ever.
we're getting popular.
I guess so. It's like their first thought, it's like, yeah, dislike. It's like, really? We didn't like, all right. So I was telling Jordan, it's like a very bizarre thing to me. Like, all right, that's fine. Luckily, we get a lot more likes
Haters. Yeah.
and yeah, people that like what we're saying. But yeah, I posted a clip of you basically explaining. Here's the thing: you were literally explaining what an article said about quiet quitting.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't give an opinion. You didn't. I mean, you really didn't do anything. You literally just said, "Hey, this is what quiet quitting is," and a couple other things like whatever it was, the kind of the purpose and why it's so popular right now. And immediately I saw like 2 or 3 comments like, oh, we never get comments. Like people will like it, but rarely do they comment unless they're upset at you for how you go on dates and don't pay people or don't pay for dates and all that stuff. We've gotten some of those comments, but uh, where I was kind of scrolling through and
And I
people,
get flowers now, so that's why I'm dating. So I can get
you guys
flowers.
don't have to worry about it.
I'm gonna suck them dry.
The YouTube crowd, it's too late. You messed up.
Good.
But yeah, so we were basically I was just kind of going through and a couple people, were kind of explaining that, what quiet quitting, like they were reiterating what it was and they were all for it, saying that it happens in situations where people don't feel like they're valued or they're being overworked and not being compensated. I mean, basically everything you just said. Like, I don't know why we're repeating this, but okay. And so, a lot of that kind of stuff happened. And I've heard before, and I feel like it's important to respond to those things. Now, if anybody knows me, I'm pretty patient. I'm not gonna get into it with someone online because I have a life, I have a wife and kids. I have things to do. I don't have time to spend on YouTube commenting and going back and forth with people that I agree or disagree with. Like it seems silly, but I do find the value in responding and acknowledging someone who has taken the time to comment, right? Like I'm fine with that. And so, like, hey, appreciate the feedback, da 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 da. Well, last night before I went to bed, I saw this guy had commented earlier in the day, and I'm just gonna read it. I'm gonna read it, Deb. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull it up here.
I wonder if it's the one I read or if it's something different.
Uh, which one did
I don't
you
know.
read?
Oh God, oh, I don't know. Here, you read it and then I'll tell you.
Okay.
And then and then if it's not the one, I can tell you the one I read. I was like, yes, we did it.
We're probably talking about the same one.
We have some we like it really irritated somebody.
Okay. Hey
I
kids.
didn't know we were that cool.
This
Okay,
one?
sorry. Oh, that's the one I think. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Hey kids, this isn't new. It's called a work slowdown. Unions, again, there's no period. That's okay. Unions have been doing this for decades. See what happens when people stop reading and believe that everyone and every thought is new because they have it. People have been getting by doing the minimum for centuries. It's called the military. It's called the backbench. Stand back. The next thing they will invent straps that go over your shoulders that help. Oops, sorry, scroll a little bit. That help keep your pants up. Or hey, let's form a think tank or go to an incubator for funding on things that go on your feet. Wait for it before you put your feet into shoes. Read a freaking book. Okay, now, which is fine. Again, my thought is you're entitled to your opinion. My thought is we didn't claim that we came up with this term. You didn't say anything that was controversial. We were literally like, hey, this is what we're talking about in this episode. Now, I'll say this. Like I said, I'm not someone that's going to go. I'm not going to get into it with someone because again, like I can't say this enough. I have a life. I can't do it. I'm not going to get into it with someone online. This is nonsense. So, and again, like I really believe, like, hey, you're entitled to your opinion. It was a weird opinion, but you're entitled to your opinion. That's fine. So, in my mind, I was sitting at the computer, and like just in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna get all my jokes out right now, and then get those out of my head, and then I'm gonna respond. So I basically just responded and said, "Hey man, appreciate the feedback. Yeah, definitely not a new thing, but something that's pretty popular right now." And I'm paraphrasing. Pretty popular right now. Uh, we're not experts in anything, especially this. Ha ha. And then uh, said, "Hey, we just like having conversations." So again, appreciate the comment. And then I said like, "P.S. I'm glad someone came up with suspenders because that probably prevented a lot of awkward situations." And this morning he responded and he's like, "Hey, thanks for appreciating the sarcasm." Like, yeah, man. Like, I'm like, what'd you expect? I'm not gonna get into a fight with you about this. Was it a little weird that you use suspenders as an example? A little bit. I'm not sure how old this person is, but suspenders was a weird choice. So were socks. But yeah, it was a very strange thing. I just don't understand. Uh, it's a decent sized paragraph too. I don't get that either. If we're so dumb, but hey, if you felt the need to educate us and call us dumb, that's fine. But again, uh, we didn't say anything, so
Yeah. I mean, did he at least subscribe?
that's a good question. I can't see if he did. I can't see. Some people subscribe, but they don't let you know that they subscribe.
Yeah. If
I
you're gonna
wish.
comment, subscribe. Yeah, no, that was I saw that and I laughed in terms of like, well, I don't understand what half of this paragraph is trying to say, but yeah, I did. And I was like, oh, I think we offended someone. This is great. I love
Yeah.
it.
Like I said, the weird thing is like there's nothing offensive because sometimes you could say like,
Mm,
there's something that's like, I guess if someone was super sensitive, that could
mm.
offend them, right? And you post something that's like, yeah, I guess if they were really sensitive, that could. This one, I literally have no clue how this could offend anybody because there was nothing controversial.
Well,
There was nothing like you literally
maybe
just gave the definition. It wasn't like you stood up there and said, you know what, Josh, I've been meaning to talk to you. I came up with this concept that I think summarizes a lot of what people are going through in the workforce. It's called quiet quitting. Have you heard of this? I'm like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Deb, how did you think of that? You're like, I don't know. I just did. It's a new concept that came to my mind.
new thing, never been done before.
I'm gonna quit teaching because I'm
Everyone
gonna
has
go
always
speak.
given 500,000% at their job. Always. This is the
Yeah.
first time ever in the history of the world ever that anyone has done just their job. Yeah, no, we didn't say that it was a new happening, that it was just a new trend, but everyone's entitled to feel. I'm wondering if he's just, or whoever this person, I don't know
It's
why
a
I say
he.
he.
Hey,
Okay.
come on.
Anyway, I don't
Come
think.
on.
Well, I'm like, I don't know why I felt like it was he.
I think we know. It
Maybe
sounded
he's
like a he.
maybe he doesn't like his job. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows why? But I didn't understand half the paragraph anyway. I didn't understand the whole trousers thing. After he said the first sentence, the rest of it didn't make sense to me. So
Yeah. Well, it's just one of those things. Like if you're gonna get nitpicky, it's
Read,
like, hey
yeah.
kids, like yeah, we must be much younger than you.
Well,
You feel the need to
at
do
one,
that.
at one point he said, read a book or pick up a book. And I want to be like, sir, we do not prepare. I do not research any of the things we talk about ever, ever.
I want to
First of
say,
all,
hey man, my co-host, she's got 3 books and she stacks her mic on top of it. Take that.
I do have 3 books.
This podcast is built on books. But yeah,
Hmm.
no, it was just
Literally.
funny. But like you said, that's a sign that we've made it. We've never had something pop like that before, and it didn't even get that many views. It was just the people that just did view it had thoughts about it, which is great. Like I said, I mean, you and I are pretty difficult to offend. I think we've made that pretty clear on this podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe not you. Maybe I'm pretty difficult to offend. I think you are too, but maybe not.
Yeah. If I ever get offended, it's normally, I'll be honest, it's normally something that might happen. And it's not, I don't even want to use the word offended. I would just say like annoyed or irritated. It's usually within my, not my, I don't want to say my place of work because my school site is awesome. But in terms of being an educator in general and the laws we have in place for educators, and there are just certain things. Anyway, that's the only time I think I get irritated. I can go on and on. I can do a whole podcast about how teachers just are, it just is not, it's not great being a teacher right now. But
Hmm.
it's like, anyway, I think that's the only thing I could probably like get irritated about. But offended, maybe like a few years ago, probably. I think I'm just at the point where I just like, I don't have time. I don't have time to like get inside your head of why what did I do to make you upset? I just don't have time. So I think maybe I'll get irritated for a second and then I just forget about it 2 seconds later.
So see, there you go.
I just,
Again,
I just don't care. Yeah.
that's
No.
what I'm saying. Like again, it's for me, and I just feel fully confident in this. Like you can disagree, but
Mm.
especially in this situation, I can't emphasize this enough. Nothing was said. Literally nothing. No opinion was given. This was literally a definition that Deb read off of some article. So, and it's a topic that's like I said, I didn't know about it, but you brought it to the table and said that's something that's been going around quite a bit, and so we
Mhm.
talked about it. So it was just
So
it was just interesting.
it triggered him. It got that clip that he watched got to him somehow. So there's some things that he needs to work on, probably
I'm not
mentally.
even concerned about that. My concern ended after.
That's where my brain goes. I'm like, if someone is mad at me about whatever or is offended by something I say, I'm just like, what do you need to work on? Why is that offensive? But
Huh,
anyway.
that's interesting. See, I'm a little bit different. Like if someone's mad at me, I like to know what it was that set them off.
Mm,
And then based on that, it kind of goes 2 different directions. And I've always felt like if it's something that was I said or did that was unintentional,
mhm,
then I would like to fix the problem, right? I would like to figure out where either the miscommunication happened or where I messed up. Like I'm fully okay with accepting my responsibility in a situation like that. Where I have a tough time is if someone doesn't like something that's a part of my character that
mhm.
something I truly believe in and something that they just don't agree with. It's like, well, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I can't change this thing about me simply because you don't like it, especially if it's something I really believe in. Now, if it's something
Yeah.
I need to work on, sure, we can talk about it. But if something like I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good example of what it would be. But that kind of stuff's happened before. It's like, well, we may just not be friends here because whatever I'm doing is something that I actually truly believe in and you don't, and that's fine. But I'm not going to change it just to make you happy. That would seem
Yeah.
silly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
that's why
Mm.
in this case I didn't care because nothing happened. And it's like, hey
I'm
man,
over here concerned about his projection and mental. I'm like, what is happening with this guy? Is he okay?
yeah, yeah. For me, it's
My
like, hey man, you
I'm
didn't include a picture in
like,
your
not even,
profile.
yeah, I skipped the offensive part. I'm like, is he okay? But that's it. I mean, I'm
You're a
sure
better person than me. I'm
I
like, you had too much time, my man. You shouldn't have been doing this. It's like, what are we doing? So, anyways, it was interesting. Like you said, you were very excited. It's like, oh, we made it. And for me, it's like,
We
and
made
even
it.
today, I posted the second clip for the week. I'm like, there was a part of me like, man, do I really want to deal with this today? Do I really want to deal with this? And it's not so much. In fact, I'll take this back. It's not even that I don't want to get those kind of responses, but like I said, I feel like it's important to respond to those things. Just because I said, hey, I'm gonna, with the exception of a couple, like the one I mentioned last week about the guy who felt strongly about the dating clip. Like, I'm not going to respond to that because, like, what am I supposed to say? It's like,
Well,
well,
again,
she actually
again,
pays. She
that
told me
guy,
she pays for everything. She pays for stuff. She's actually a nice person. Like, I don't need to justify that. You guys an idiot.
yeah. Well, and again, my mind automatically goes to, well, first of all, it goes to like, okay, you can go go pound sand. But but then it goes right to like, what? Oh, he probably had like such a horrible dating experience. Like, I wonder what has happened. Maybe he's always paid for every single girl and they ghost him. Like, I don't know. That's where my brain goes.
You're a
Like,
nicer person than
I
me.
skip, well, and I don't even know if it's niceness. I just like, I skip right over to why does that bother them so much? How does that affect their life? And I'm like, okay, something must have happened. I don't know if it's the female in me or what, or that's just me, but that's where I go. And of course, I don't lose sleep over it. I literally spend probably a minute or less thinking about it, and then I forget about it. But that's where my brain goes when something like that happens. I'm like, wow, something that really bothered them. And I know it's not me because there's no way what I said or what I do, how that directly affects their life. So there must be something else going on.
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't do that at all for anybody who comments on
I think
our YouTube page.
I talked to Crystal too much.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe
There's
that's
no
what it
such
is.
thing as too much talking to her, but
Yeah.
when I spend time with her talking to her, those are the things that I start learning.
Oh, there you go. See, yeah, no, I would have that thought for like a real person that I actually know, but for some dork that's decided to comment and write a full paragraph about reading, and once again, can't comment about how stupid people are, and you can't punctuate. You can't do that. You can't do that. And also use more current terms. Why are we talking about suspenders of all things?
I know. I was like, when he said, I was like, what? Suspenders.
He's like there's either some like hipster in Seattle, or he's like an old man that just is typing away at his keyboard. I don't know, but
Maybe
like
it's Jordan just trying to cause a stir.
no, Jordan. I haven't even talked to Jordan about this. I'll talk to him later about this whole thing. But yeah, he would. This would drive him nuts. Oh, there's look at that product placement. Go ahead, you can open it up. Is it open
Okay.
yet?
No. Wait. One moment, please.
Go ahead.
There you go. Oh, that wasn't a great one.
No, it
That's
was.
it.
I was actually. I'm
Already
sorry.
open.
I'm
Already
sorry
open.
that we did that. Oh, and there's Deb's straw because she's a child and she can't. Oh,
And there's a
oh, look at that.
lid.
Very nice.
That's my straw. There's my lid. All
There,
right.
there you go. Truly, if that wasn't the best ad you've ever had for your product, I don't know what is.
Right.
So there we go. I wish we wouldn't have stopped for that. Oh man. So yeah. But anyways, I thought it was a good episode though. I did listen to some parts of it and I thought it was a pretty solid episode. I think overall. And we talked, we don't need to do another whole episode on this, but we did talk a little bit about some of the different things that kind of I think that we missed or forgot. And one point that someone made on YouTube was really interesting. And a lot of it does come because we looked at it very specifically from the employee's perspective, and there is a point to be made for the employer's perspective. Like I think if you have really solid leadership at the top, this probably would not be a problem. For the people that are working really hard, like if you have a solid group of leaders that are leading the company in an effective way and in a way
Yeah.
that shows that they really care about their employees, a lot of this can probably be avoided. You know,
Yeah. Oh,
um,
totally agree. Yep.
yeah, yeah. So I thought it was a really interesting point that person made. And then there's the other side of it. Like I think I texted you the next day. I said, you know, if someone does choose to quietly quit, they're entitled to do so. That's fine. But you know, I would hate for them to go to like Starbucks or go to a restaurant and then get irritated because the waiter is just doing exactly what they're supposed to do, which is take their order, serve their food. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Because then you can't complain and be like, why weren't they smiling or talking to us or making conversation with us or hurrying to get to our table?
right.
Then if you're quietly putting at your job, then why would, to your point, to what you're saying, then why would you go to a restaurant and be upset with the server who's doing the same thing? Like,
Right. I think
or
it,
like, why, or would you want them to do that? I guess I love, like, well, I personally, not that you asked for my opinion, but like, I personally love when servers go above and beyond, and I like tipping them more than what I usually, like, it's just because it's a fun experience, and
right.
it's just like, yes, you've earned it. Here you go. It's like,
Yeah.
just, it's something that I wouldn't want that either. So that made, when you texted that, that made sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and again,
I
I
mean,
think,
whatever.
yeah, I think the way I would sum it up is this, like very simply, I think if you're going to be a champion for quietly quitting for yourself, then I think you should be a champion for other people also quietly quitting,
Right.
regardless of what it is. Like, I don't care if you're getting your car serviced and they're doing the bare minimum and they don't let you know about these other things that could go wrong. Like, whatever
Mm.
the case is, like, if you're like, hey, you quietly quitting? Like, I am. I'm tired of this job. Like, all right, cool. Like, I think you have to be an advocate in every sense. Like, you can't just do it for yourself and then expect more out of other people. And maybe
Yeah.
that's not something people do, but I feel like I know a couple people that would definitely do that. You know what I mean? Not people
Mhm.
I enjoy being around, but I know some people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, anyways, that kind of sums it up. So that's what we've been kind of going through and talking about
Like,
recently. Quiet quitting. So I'm kind of done with that phrase though. After I'm
ah,
done posting the clips this week, I am done with that phrase. I'm good.
done. Yeah, we're
Doesn't
done.
apply to me. So I'm gonna keep it moving.
Oh, yeah. Again, in my profession, you might as well just do something else. You can't. There's no way. When you have little children, humans involved, you cannot. So,
Right. Well, and actually, it's okay. I'll say one more thing. I did read an article after we talked about it. It was kind of focused on this one teacher that basically decided to quietly quit. And some of the same things that we talked about, like she wasn't going to answer emails afterwards, she wasn't going to stay after hours, all of those different things. And like we talked about, those are, I consider those boundaries.
yeah.
But she's like, I'm a really great teacher, like during the time that I was supposed to be a teacher, which is awesome. But then the article ends by saying that she ended up, once the article posted, she actually got a different job. So
Well, there you go. Maybe
still in the,
maybe she was, wherever she's working, whatever district that was, whatever age level, maybe they are taught to think that that is quietly quitting, because there is a stigma with teachers, and I see memes about it all the time, where teachers are like, no, I will not do that after school thing. My contract hours are over. I'm done. I've been teaching for 8 hours. I do not have to do this committee that I don't get paid for after school. No. And we are taught to think that that is not doing our job then. And we're taught to, and so I think that's why remember how, that's how I started the episode. I thought it too in my brain, like, oh, that's quietly quitting. And you're like, no, that was an extra job. Like, that's
right,
not, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. That was an
right,
extra. So it's really sad to think that teacher thought that that was quiet quitting. No, I don't answer my emails after my contract hours either. I don't care. I don't care if it's a parent. I don't care. If it's something really important, my administration has my phone number. They'll text me if it's an
sure,
emergency.
sure,
And so I don't have my work email on my phone, nothing. And so that is just for sure holding a boundary. When I'm at my job within my contract hours, I work my ass off.
hmm,
And like we said, if I just did the bare minimum, all I'm legally required to do is take attendance.
hmm.
That's it. My legal obligation is to take attendance. Um, and obviously to make sure kids don't kill themselves. Like, I just like,
It's probably a good thing.
have
Yeah,
them, you could have them sit down on the gym floor the whole period
yeah,
and just have them do, like, sit, and just, I could throw a book at them, here, read about how to do a push-up. That's it. And I'm tenured. I couldn't get fired over that.
hmm,
But what? So it's just like, that's not like, there's an example of quiet quitting, but there's no way, like the kids would probably force me to quit. They'd be like, she sucks. And like, like,
everybody would agree to it. It's like, yeah, she does suck. She's a horrible
it'd
teacher.
be horrible. Well, no, wouldn't be, that'd be horrible for me. Like, that's awful to think about that. So anyway, it's that article that you said that, that the teacher said she was quietly quitting because she wasn't answering emails. No, that's a boundary.
Yeah,
So I'm sure a lot of people have misconceptions about their profession and what quiet quitting is, and versus boundaries.
sure.
And there's a huge difference. So anyway, we can go on and on again. quiet quitting part 2, but we're done.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm done with that topic.
Okay.
So
We're good. Okay. All good.
yeah, that was a great point though. That's a good way to wrap it up. I don't need to add anything or say anything else about it. We'll end it there.
We'll end it there. Okay.
So
Well, we were supposed to talk about something else.
pet peeves. Like I said, we're shooting from the hip on this one because it was a little bit
That's
of a
fine.
scramble at the end
You guys
here.
get a
So
little bit of everything. You guys get a little bit of my decorations, our favorite colors, my dating life, some more of quiet quitting, and now you guys get pet peeves. So
boom, there you go.
there-
So pet peeves. This will be part
3
3. This is our
part.
third one. So
Yeah.
sometimes when we do this, we're like, oh, we can do another pet peeves episode because those usually do pretty well. So yeah, do I have more pet peeves? I do. I do have more pet peeves. I'm
Always.
sure. I'm sure Deb does too. There's like little things pop up, and it
Yeah.
just it's like, oh yeah, this does annoy me. Now that I'm thinking about it, so I'm gonna add it to the list. I just have like a running list of pet peeves for this moment. So you want to start off?
No, I think you have more than me, so you start off. We could start and end with you.
How
Because I
many do
think
you
you
have
well, in my notes I have 2 so far, but I usually think of stuff
so
as you
far?
talk. Well, because when you talk, it reminds me of other things, and I don't think I got to all of my stuff last time either. So I might go back. I might have my notes open because I forget my topics of pet peeves. So you start though, and then I'll go because if you have more, I'd rather have you start and end it.
Okay. I probably won't.
Okay.
I probably won't use all of these because I'll save them for next
Okay.
time. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But go ahead.
Anyways, we've talked enough about stuff we should have talked about beforehand. But let me ask you this though, because I saw a list of pet peeves because sometimes I just look through and like, oh, if there's anything that was kind of jog my memory or spark my interest. One thing that came up, and this is not one of mine, so I want to make that very clear. Although I do some of it, this can be funny, but I want to get your thoughts on this. Um, what are your thoughts? I know for some people, a pet peeve is excessive public displays of affection. How do you feel about that? Well, there we go.
That's
That's a strong start because you laughed. So go
what
ahead.
excessive.
It's like the PDA episode of The
Well,
Office.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm just trying to think of what excessive is because that's subjective, right? Like if they're
it sounds like Deb does it all the time.
no,
She's the way is Izzy
hey,
with me
I
on this?
am a
The way she's scrambling right now is like, okay, I definitely do this. How do I answer this
I
question without like outing myself? It's too late.
let me tell you. So if I'm dating someone and I like them, they like me to
Good
I
start.
I do the I do the hand holding.
Okay.
Because I can be a touchy person. Like I don't mind. That doesn't bother me. Like hand holding or arm around the shoulder and waist while walking type thing. I don't care. I don't mind kissing in public, like for sure. Like that's as long as I know, like if I'm almost guaranteed that none of my students are around, like if I'm at an event, then I'll do it. Um well,
Okay. I feel like we could break that
I
whole
went
thing
to a
down.
few events the past couple weekends and I did see a few students, but so I just try to make sure of my surroundings. But I don't
That's
mind.
incredibly difficult. Good for you. That seems like almost impossible.
It is very hard, but I don't mind
Hold
kissing.
on. I'm sorry. Hold on. Hold on. You can't say something like that and expect me not to comment. So just so we're clear, if you were going in to kiss your significant other, you do
Uh-huh.
one of these, like looking around, you put the sunglasses on. Like, how is this working? I feel like this is a
I
very big ask.
I try to well if it's an event, then I try to scope the area first, and then if I
My
feel like it's
goodness.
safe, then I don't do the look around before. Like I don't want to be weird, like.
Oh
But
yeah, no, you're right. That would be
they
weird.
right. No, but they understand that I'm a teacher and they know obviously that I have because I have high school kids. They can go out in public and drive themselves places and go to things too. And so
I'm very aware.
it's so annoying. And so anyway, so holding
All right.
hands, like hugging, kissing, I guess that's just my normal, I guess PDA. So I guess I'm trying to think of what excessive PDA would be like groping, maybe like
Oh,
straddling each other,
oh
sitting
yeah,
down somewhere.
just like
Like I
at a
don't
baseball
know.
game. Okay. Okay.
Okay,
You want to hear something?
yeah,
All
I
right. I got
haven't
this.
seen a ton lately, so I don't have a frame.
Okay. Well, first of all, you've already made it very clear that the reason you're not seeing the PDA is because you're looking around for your students to make sure that you can enjoy the PDA.
I'm
if
worried
you
about
want
my own
to. Yeah, so
PDA.
of course you're not seeing it, people, engaging in this activity because you're too busy. Basically, okay, whoever you're dating, I don't know you, I'm going to talk to you directly right now. Just understand that if you go into public with Deb, it's like she's basically playing one of those look and find books where there's like 15 objects on the page that she's got to find before she can move on to the next page. So just so you're aware, just prepare and plan for that, because that's what it sounds like that's happening right now. It's like, oh, I saw 3 students. Nope, get away from me. Just push them away. Anyways,
So yeah, so
I probably shouldn't have started with this. We're not even going to get
that's
to our
why I
pet peeve.
push you away. You know why? Like,
What do I
nope.
say again?
Awesome. Just saw some of my kids. So if I push you away, you know why. Okay, you were at a baseball game.
I should have saved this. I should have saved this for our Halloween episode that's going to be recording later this week, because this would have been more fun in person. But it's all right. We continue. Okay, I'm going to share this quick story.
I'm
Okay.
sure I'll bring it up again, but go ahead.
Yeah, probably. So, uh, my wife and I were at a Giants game. This is probably like maybe 5 years ago. We're at a Giants game, just a normal game. But there was a young couple. They were probably like early 20s sitting in front of us. They could not have cared any less about the game. They were looking at each other deep into their eyes the entire time, literally right in front of us. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, whatever you want to do. I'm not going to help you if a foul ball comes screaming at the back of your head, but good luck, because you should be looking at the field. That's before they had the big nets there. So we're sitting there, and I kid you not, you can talk to Rachel, you can text her after the show. It progressively got worse. It's like each inning, just more and more and more. So it started off where they're looking deep into each other's eyes,
Like they're
and then it
sitting
was
next to each other doing it,
sitting next to each other.
sitting
So
side by side,
side by side,
their heads turned,
just
looking at
looking, yeah, looking at each
with
other.
two guys right behind us.
Yeah, not looking at Buster Posey. They're watching, not watching his at bats. They're watching
How many
each other.
beers did they get in between all this?
I don't think they got any food. I
Oh,
don't think. I literally, they did not
no.
move, Deb. They stayed there the entire game. Okay, so it started off, they're looking deep into each other's eyes. Then it evolved into, you know, like some touching, right? Like some hand on the back, stuff like that, kind of putting their hands through the hair, all that stuff. Then it started into like the nuzzling of the head, like a dog, just like, eh. And I was like, okay. And it started getting kind of weird. It's like, well, it's fine. Then it was kissing, just like a peck on the cheek here and there. And then it was like, making out. I'm like, okay. And now we're watching this, and the dude that was sitting next to Rachel, he's like bumping her shoulder, like, what is this? And so like they're just kissing, making out. It's like, okay. By the time the seventh inning stretch happened, no, I'm sorry. Hold on, wait, hold on. Well, I forgot one of the worst parts. Right before the seventh inning stretch, she looks at him. This young girl looks at this dude, turns, licks from his chin up to his temple like a freaking golden retriever. Just licked his face. I'm like, oh, all right. So we're doing that now. All right, perfect. And then by the time the seventh inning stretch happened, everybody was standing up singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and she was basically just like in his lap, straddling him, dry humping him in the seat. I'm like, what is
Like
going on here?
facing him, facing his face,
Facing him.
facing him. What?
Yeah.
How do you do that in those baseballs?
Well,
I'm trying to picture. How do you do that in
hey,
the? I know
they
what those things
they
look
made it
like.
work. They made it work. I told Rachel, I'm like, oh, I didn't realize we were invited to a porn shoot in the middle of this baseball game. And that was the seventh inning. And then guess what? Do you think they were there for the eighth and ninth? No, they were not. They left because they knew the next step in this process they could not do in public.
I mean, it
Yeah.
could be a bucket list thing. Who knows?
Which, that being said, this past baseball season, there were a few incidences, like a couple weeks in a row, where people were having sex at baseball games and caught on
Shut
camera.
up.
Yeah.
What? Shut up.
Yeah. I think there was like the first report was like, someone was getting a blowjob in like the center field where center field bleachers where no one was at. And then I think like the next week it was like, oh no, this couple out here, they were just fully having sex. And then you see the security guard walking them down.
It, in this state, like where the seats are?
Yeah. I can't remember. I didn't look into it that much, but it was, I mean, let's be honest. It was at the ballparks of some teams that aren't that great. So it's like this, like in the middle of the day. It wasn't super crowded. But yeah, some wild stuff was happening this baseball season.
They're in it for the thrill.
They're in it for something. Yeah. But yeah, that was probably the most wild display of public
Wow.
affection. Not the most wild. I've seen some pretty like
Not
I've seen
only
some pretty. I saw
okay.
one that I'm not even going to talk about. It was super aggressive at Rayleigh Field, another baseball field. I guess
Yeah.
baseball fields just make these people horny.
Oh,
I don't know what
here,
the deal is.
Sutter Health. No, it's called Sutter Health Park now.
Not when
But
this happened. It was
oh,
Rayleigh Field, and
shoot.
Sutter Health's probably like, yeah, let's just keep that incident with Rayleigh Field. Let's not bring this over.
It does not involve us. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was super great. Well, no, that's too late. I'll say it. So yeah, we were at this 4th of July thing, and they had it on the ballpark. So it was on 4th of July. They had a bunch of food trucks on the field. I was there with
Yeah.
my family and just like ate a ton of food, and then they did fireworks, like a huge fireworks display. So it was a lot of fun. But we were in line for some food, and this guy had his hands all over his girlfriend, just I mean all over her, and she's like, "Oh, stop it." Well, then he reaches behind and sticks his hand in the back of her jeans and her underwear. Okay, I've seen that before. Well, then my guy decides to reach around,
No.
and then she gave him a look like she was gonna fight him. It's like she's like, "How dare you?" He's like, "What? It's funny." It's like I don't think she thought that was funny, bro. It's like it went too far, way too far. Like you can't do that in public.
More
Like
in
you can
public.
maybe like you've seen people like reach in the back of
He was
someone's
hoping
pants.
he was hoping that she was like just drunk enough like to not notice.
Oh, she noticed, and she was. I didn't think he was gonna get his hand back. Like she's about to break your hand off, bro. It was super aggressive. Like, hey man, this is a family event. That's maybe let's not do that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
To the front. What are we doing? So, anyways,
Wow.
yeah. That
Um
being said, I don't mind public displays of affection.
just replaying everything in my head that you just said.
And I'm not none of that stuff's exaggerated. I wish it was. Those are not exaggerated stories.
I'm I don't even I mean, I can't remember or recall anything that I've seen that's been crazy like that. So you must be like a magnet to like PDA. There's
Just
Josh.
a
We're
bunch of
just gonna go
freaks.
over there just make him uncomfortable.
Yeah, I bet the guy who commented on our video probably engages in all kinds of wild PDA.
Probably.
Probably not always
Okay.
wanted either.
Okay. Yeah, all of that is for me is more so like great, like juicy people watching. Like if I were with my girlfriends, we would totally be like, oh my God, look. And
Oh
just
yeah,
like
for sure.
watch, be like, what is happening? Like we just keep watching.
Oh, that's no, I agree with that. We're on the same page there for sure. Like when you see that, that's always, you know, what's the worst in that situation too, is when you can't get your friend's attention. Have you ever had that where
Yeah,
you're
you're like,
trying to do it quiet, like, hey, hey, they're like, what? Like,
look, three
let me
o'clock. We use the time. We use the clocks. The 3 o'clock. We're like 3 o'clock. Look now.
see. That's the way to
One of
do
my
it.
friends, God bless her soul, never gets it. Like we have to. No, look to your left. No, the other left. Like it's just we're like, never mind. It's gone. The moment's over. They done. It's done.
It's always the worst when that happens. You miss it. So, okay. So that being said, I will say too, and it's probably just this is not meant to be a PDA conversation, but like you mentioned, like the hand around the waist or the like over the
Yeah.
shoulder while walking. That's
Yeah.
always been like awkward for me.
Oh.
I don't care if people
Like,
do it.
are you like you doing it or are you watching people or watching people do it?
Oh no, I don't care. I mean, again, I just watched a girl lick a man's
You're like, it's
face.
not at all. That's nothing.
Like that's it. It's tame.
So, like,
No, no, like me actually like putting my arm. Now that being said, Rachel's pretty tall. Like,
yeah.
she's on the taller side, so that might be why it's a little bit more. Like I always feel like awkward. Like hello, like my arm's like broken up here. Like I'm like a freaking scarecrow. So you know maybe if there's a little bit of a height difference, because I think
Yeah.
even Rachel's like, yeah, we don't let's not do this. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need to do this either because it's just
Well,
not hand
well,
holding's fine.
yeah.
But
It's different for everybody. I think if you guys are like, I'm cool, don't really touch me, then that's great. And
that's not so. Okay, hold on, hold on.
you at least hold her hand. You hold hands,
Wait, okay, how did this turn it? No, hold on. Wait,
link elbows, something.
hold on. How did this happen? What happened here? I never said anything about not doing that stuff or not wanting to. I'm just saying the specific act of like putting my hand around like over her shoulder while walking
Yeah.
is awkward because I think there's a little bit of a height thing, right?
Mm.
Like for example, you've mentioned you've dated really tiny guys like 4 or 5, and so
4 or 5. What? Okay, continue.
I'm kidding. You've said you've dated some shorter guys. And
Short.
so, like, if you had like a really tall girl and a
Mhm.
really short guy, like hand holding might be kind of awkward
Yeah, I see that.
because,
Yeah.
and that's not, it's just because of the height difference. I'm
Yeah.
not even saying like it's uncomfortable because it highlights the height difference. I'm saying it's uncomfortable because physically it's like you're reaching out like, hello, where you want to go to dinner? You know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying. Like for me, that specific, like doing that, I've tried it before. I'm like, this is not weird. And so we
Yeah.
always joke about it. Hand holding, yeah, absolutely. That doesn't bother me at all. I don't mind doing those things.
Yeah.
Kissing in public, I can do that freely because I don't have students. So it's nice. Live the free life, Deb. That's what I get to do.
Well, I
So
don't. Okay, I got balls and chains everywhere I go, which is why I don't live.
I don't know why I thought you were gonna stop balls. I'm like, what? What is what is happening here? It's like I have balls. Like,
Yeah, that's okay. That
okay.
too.
Oh, big reveal on this podcast. The guy who gave you those flowers to just found out. I was like, what? She has what?
Oh my God. But okay, except how do I feel? Hang on. The original question was how do I feel about excessive PDA?
Yeah,
You're trying
because
to see
obviously
what
you
I
feel
thought.
fine. You feel
I get
fine
I
engaging in
know.
it.
I mean, go with your bad self, but like don't get surprised if a cop like pulls you aside. Like
Wait a minute.
it doesn't bother me. It's just more like drama for me and my friends. We're just like,
Okay,
look what they're doing.
okay,
It doesn't make me uncomfortable. It's just more like I love people watching. When I go
yeah,
out, I
sure,
want to people watch. So I'm looking, scanning wherever I am, the crowd, and trying to find like my friends would be like, look, that couple's fighting over there. Look. We will
sure, yeah,
all
yeah. That makes sense.
look, they're making out. Look at them. Oh my God, they're laying down and making out. What do you think they're gonna do? Like that type of thing. So excessive PDA, it's not a pet peeve, it's more
Sure,
like entertainment for me and my
yeah.
friends.
Honestly, that's kind of what I figured. Like you didn't seem like someone that would be bothered by that. I am
Oh.
curious. You just very casually dropped, "Hey, don't be surprised if the cops come and visit you." Like, what act were you thinking? That was what popped in your
I'm
head? Is
just
like,
thinking well, I'm just thinking like I was just at a bunch of concerts this weekend and there's police officers roaming around. So that's just in my head. That's what I was thinking.
okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Not sure what happened here. I'm
Well,
just talking about like,
you just said the couples got escorted by the security at the baseball games because they were doing all that. Because you
sure. The way
can't
you said
do
it,
like, huh?
no, the way you said it made it seem like you've
Oh,
seen these things happen. I'm like, oh, you're
oh,
like, I
you
was at the
know,
baseball game.
you
I
know
saw
it
it.
can, but I'm pretty sure you can't have sex in public.
Yeah, that's yeah. I think that's the rule. Hey, if any of our listeners want to give it a shot,
Let's know how
hey,
it goes.
no, Paul Marshall, you just retired from being a police officer. You can let us know. Is
Oh,
that
he needs.
illegal?
I bet he has stories.
Oh, I'm sure Paul. I'm sure Paul has a ton of stories.
Oh my God.
So, Paul, if you're
Okay,
listening, which I know you are, let us know. Um, yeah, I'm sure he's heard some wild things like on a daily
yeah,
basis.
probably. Poor guy,
Shout out to
right?
Paul. He's got a good personality for that type of thing, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh
Like,
yeah.
yeah, because I feel like if Paul saw something like that, like I think Paul's first reaction would be like, as he's handling the situation, he's like, I've got a good story to tell people. Like he
Good
seems
story
like, yeah,
now.
he
Yeah.
seems like that kind of dude. Maybe I have you mischaracterized, but I think he's a good
Yeah.
person. Like if you're having sex in the park and Paul Marshall rolls up on you, it's probably lucky that was him rather than someone else.
It's
I
just
don't know how
not
you feel about that, Paul,
a
but
nice little sound bite to send to him and tag him in.
sure, yeah, I'll let him know. All right, enough of that. As like I said, it was interesting, so I thought I'd bring it up.
Oh,
We were
that
like
was
at an
great.
hour already,
It's
so
great time.
yeah.
Okay, well,
Oh,
so
I didn't say mine. Oh, let me say mine. I'll say mine.
that was just a thought you had.
Oh yeah, no, that wasn't mine. Like I said, I like holding my wife's hand, despite what Deb tried to paint me as. Like, you don't hold her hand. I didn't say that. Come on, Deb. Deb's always trying to make me look like a monster. How dare
Well,
you? In
mm,
fact, I'm just gonna walk in after we're done recording. I'm just gonna go grab my wife's hand and say, "Here you go. Take that, Deb." She's like, "What?"
I good.
Yeah, this will
Better.
show her. All right. Let me see. Okay, this is a super simple one.
Okay.
I enjoy cooking. Like it's something that I really enjoy doing and trying different recipes and stuff like that. What drives me nuts though is sometimes if I go online to find a new recipe,
Mhm.
when they have like an ingredient that comes like in a can or like a bottle, and the amount that they give you doesn't quite match up. So it's like, okay, you need to find a 5 ounce can. Well, all they have is like a 5.3, right? Or it's like, hey, you need to find a 5 ounce can, and all they have is like a 4.5 ounce can. It's like, oh, why couldn't you just make it 4.5? Why couldn't you make these things match? Like just like the standard can or bottle of whatever it is. Like when they don't quite match up like that, it
Mhm.
drives me nuts. And I know they can't really help it, but like you could have just adjusted things a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That bothers me. Then I'm at the store like trying to do math. Like, okay, what do I do? I do not like that. Bothers me.
Or what about the recipes that, well, and maybe this is just my problem because I don't cook, so I don't have any spices, nothing. Right. Even when I would try to
No
cook
spices
the
at all.
recipe, um, I mean, like I have salt and pepper.
Doesn't count.
I don't I don't cook, okay? So if any, like, I've had more friends cook in my apartment that would bring their own spices. I'm not even joking. True story.
Okay,
But
that's
if
good to
I
know.
back when I was cooking or tried to cook or whatever, and I would see a recipe, and the spices, and it has like 5 different spices, and it has like, a pinch of this and like a teaspoon of that or a tablespoon of that. Well, now I'm stuck with a big ass bottle of expensive spices that I'm not gonna, so it's just, and so my grocery store trip to get those spices, just because I don't have them, the ingredients cost way more than it would be to go and just go freaking get it at the nearby restaurant. And I
Sure.
don't like the process of cooking as it is. It's not enjoyable for me. I don't get satisfaction in it at all. I get satisfaction in drinking a glass of wine and watching you cook and eating it afterwards. But like, I just, yeah, the same guy who commented on my dating life can comment on that too. That's fine. But,
You don't need to because I don't want to deal with it again. So what are you doing?
but like, anyway, that's me piggybacking off of that pet peeve. And I
Yeah,
just
it's a
don't,
fair point.
yeah, so I just don't care to cook. I know I'm not the only person in the world who doesn't care to cook, so I don't feel bad for saying that. But
You shouldn't feel bad for saying that. Like as much I've never even given you a hard time for not like enjoying cooking.
no,
Do people give you a hard time?
no, honestly, the only person who has ever given me a hard time was when I was married. So
Okay, here we go. Moving
my
on.
I could go.
Uh-oh. This one took a dark turn.
So
I'm
no.
kidding.
Next mother-in-law. But
Oh,
no.
okay.
But no, but like no, but like I mean I was actually cooking back then, but I will say that
Clack
my
clack, shots fired. Go ahead.
stove is really clean. So I'm gonna get my deposit back anytime, whenever it is in the next 10 years that I leave this place. So there's that.
They're gonna think you installed a new oven.
They're
Like,
gonna
when did
be,
you do this? Oh, it's the same
yeah.
exact one.
There's a tiny little, because I have a flat stove,
Okay.
and like a tiny little, like there's a ring around just a little bit on one of the things. That's only because when my friends come over, they use that spot to cook, and everything else is clean. And I got pissed because they left, and I was like, "You guys left a mark on my." They're like, "We're sorry for cooking for you," and I'm like, "No, you left a
Good
mark on
point.
my stove, though. No, it's dirty." And so, anyway, it's just a joke. It's a
Goes through a perfect game.
anyway,
Bummer.
so I know. How dare
All
they
right.
cook, right?
How dare they? Yeah, no, I don't think it's a weird thing. I feel like it's a pretty popular thing I've heard that some people just don't enjoy it. So I really enjoy it. Like I just, you
Well,
know,
that's great. I appreciate people like you, because then I could go to your house and you can cook for me and Rachel, and that'll be great. And I can just invite myself over for dinner, and you can cook, and I can tell you how great it tastes. And so some people really like cooking. Look on your face. Don't worry, I'm not actually going to do that. I'm just saying, when
no, I'm
people
like,
like cooking,
I think you overestimate how welcome you are here.
I haven't had dinner date night with Rachel in a while, so maybe I'll be like, "Rachel, I have an idea. You mean actually date night and Josh cooks for us." He
Hey,
said he enjoyed.
I would, yeah, I would do it. I would do it. We can turn it into an episode.
Oh God.
Hey,
Yes.
that's kind of like a stolen idea from another podcast, but maybe we do that. We have
Okay.
Ashley and Rachel there, and you can help me.
Help you cook?
Yeah, we'll
Oh geez.
record it. We'll
Like
record
we
it and
can
see.
record it.
See what a nightmare this is.
I might.
That would be like my ball and chain. It's like,
You will
oh
kick
my
me out of the
gosh.
kitchen in 10 seconds. That's all I have to say. You'll be like, get out of here. You're just ruining everything. You
It's
don't
like
even
that
know how to
cooking
cut an
show.
onion.
What was that one cooking show? Was it, I forgot the name of it, but like they had all the utensils like tied to one spot. So it was like an extra challenge. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, like the spoons and the knives are all attached to like this one thing. So you had to like take it, all of it. That's what it would feel like. It's like, except instead of a utensil, it's
I
you.
mean, I've literally been kicked out of the kitchen before, like helping, because I'm like just doing everything wrong. Like, I don't know how to cut the vegetables the right way. I don't know how to prep. I just, nah. And you would think I do it on purpose, but I don't. I
Yeah,
just
maybe
don't.
so bad.
I
We'll
don't
talk
like
to Rachel.
prepping. I don't like cooking.
Like you
It's
said,
just,
you're there for the company. You sit there with your wine and you just talk.
yeah, I love that. And I like watching. I'll be like, oh, that's cool. I wish I could do, that's cool. But I would rather just be
All
with,
right. Yeah, maybe one day. Maybe way down the road, you can come over again. It's been a
like,
minute.
it's
So
fine.
yeah.
It's fine.
Rachel's gonna hear that. She's like, why would you invite her? Like, I didn't invite her. She invited herself.
That's how that's how this friendship started. Duh.
That's
And
true.
just like bombarded myself in Rachel's life. So you're welcome, Rachel.
I didn't want
Uh,
to bring this up on air, but that's the real reason I asked you to be my podcast co-host. Rachel asked me to. She's like, I can't handle this anymore. So if you can, you can hijack this friend of ours, that would be awesome.
you
Like,
just
all right,
off my hand.
yeah.
And
I'm
now I
just kidding,
spend way
everybody.
too much time, spend way too much time with you and not enough time with her. She's probably like, yes, this is exactly what I was wanting.
She's kind of killing two birds with one stone because she's probably thinking the same about me too. It's like an hour free of that clown.
That's the plan.
Yeah, she's like, get them both together, have them talk for like an hour, and then I get freedom. That's what happened. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've been duped.
smart. Women are smart. I'm telling you.
Yep, it's true.
Yep.
Unless you check YouTube, then feel differently.
Right. Exactly. I mean,
Yeah. All right.
all comments are true.
What's your pet peeve?
Okay. So I'm sure I don't understand.
Oh, she just did the hand clap for anybody who's not
And
watching.
you're okay, if you're in a left-hand turn lane
Okay.
and there's two and there's two of them, right? If
Sure.
you're in a double left-hand turn lane, sorry, I'm not popping my knuckles because I'm fired up. I was just popping them. Sorry.
Like, who wants to go? He's
I
ready to
know.
fight someone.
That felt so good. That's probably someone else's pet peeve is
It
knuckle
was
pop.
on the list that I read.
Uh, I've literally had people tell me, don't do that.
Oh
Like
yeah.
as soon as I do it, they look at me, don't do that. I'm like, why? They're like, I just don't do it. Okay. I won't do it around you. I'm gonna do it.
It's like I can't wait until I get home. I'm gonna crack these
Yeah,
knuckles so hard. All right, go ahead.
yeah. Okay, anyway. So a double left-hand turn lane. So I don't understand when if I'm in the right left-hand turn lane and someone's next to me on the left-hand turn lane and they're either right next to me or a little bit ahead of me. And why do you, when you're about to turn, why do you have to turn your wheel to the right for a little bit to get in my lane?
That's pretty good.
Why? Even if it's not a U-turn, why? It happened to me the other day, and obviously it's not the first time it's happened. With U-turn, it's more popular with U-turns when that
Sure.
happens, but this one was not a U-turn. This one was a left-hand turn with me, and I literally had to slam on my brakes because I saw their wheels going to the right, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And they literally went in my lane, and it happened every time. Why? If you can't handle your car, you should know how to turn it correctly. I've never understood that. I don't do it. So I don't know. Can you explain to me why you're like this, right? Your hands are on the wheel.
Sure.
So I'm not even trying to I'm literally trying to understand why people do this. Maybe there's an explanation that I don't know about. And why you're right here and you're about to turn left. What possesses you to turn right first? Like why? Right? And then
Yeah.
left. Why not just start going out a little bit, get your wheels past the median and then turn left? I just don't get it. I hate when people do it. I literally scream in my car so many things. when I see that happening because it's always right next to me, always, or right in front of me, and I have to slam on my brakes because they're going in my lane.
Yeah.
So why? I don't know.
I don't know. I probably do it. No, I don't know. No, I'm kidding. No, I think if I had to guess, because I don't have an answer for it, like a real answer. But my only thought would be, like you said, the median. I don't know if it's an overcorrection to ensure that they don't hit it.
So you're gonna hit me? You're gonna overcorrect your car and then hit me in the process.
And
Why?
honestly, I mean, they're probably thinking, hey, you know what? That car will move. The median is not going to move at all.
Maybe.
Like I'm taking wild guesses here. I don't know.
Just like don't get
I mean,
it.
in all honesty, though, I really do think in situations like that, sometimes, like, okay, like for example, don't worry, I'm not justifying what they're doing. I'm just
Well,
trying to,
I genuinely want to understand because I feel like I'm missing out on a secret to something. I'm like, because I've seen so many people do it. I don't do it. I've never hit a curb, but I don't do it. But I also have a tiny car. So if you have a bigger car, like anyway, go ahead.
well, no, I'm just wondering, like, have you ever driven down a freeway and you've been on the far left lane, right? And say they're doing construction or they're doing something there, there's the median that's really close
Uh-huh.
to you on the left hand side, and there's obviously cars to the right of you. Sometimes like I would say I'm almost more concerned that I'm going to scrape the median.
Oh,
You
for
know,
sure.
you know what I
Right.
mean? But like literally there's another person in a car to my right
You
that
go to
really
the right a
I
little
should be more concerned about. But like I would be lying if my mind isn't really focused on not scraping that median. So does that make sense?
bit. It does, but it's hard to compare going 65 plus down a freeway in a straight lane, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's a construction wall. Let me veer over to the right. That too, you are stopped. You were at a stoplight. You were stopped. You were not moving, and then all of a sudden a screen, and you freaking turn your wheel to the right to avoid. I don't get. I just still don't understand.
Well, and I'm not saying that they're the same thing because they're definitely different, but I'm just saying
Right, but
there's
I get yours because I do that on the freeway too. I'm like, but
I'm just wondering if there's something like some psychological thing about the median.
maybe, probably.
And I wonder if it's just as simple as that, because I agree. It is a weird thing that you see all the time, but there must just be something about the median.
I
I
don't
don't know.
know. I don't know.
That's a good one though. I'm sure a lot of people are thinking that same thing, and some people are like, I
Like,
should never drive to dead
I
left.
I if I ever look like a crazy person screaming in my car, that's when that happens.
You
I
know,
never
don't
honk
be
my horn. I don't honk my horn unless someone is literally about to collide with me, like, or
sure,
if I'm in the blind spot and they're not looking or whatever. That I can avoid because obviously their whole car isn't going in my lane, right? Like just a little bit of it, but it's still like enough to like make me jump. Like, what are you doing? You
sure.
know, I don't honk my horn at them. I try not to do that, but I scream at the top of my lungs many words that I can't say on here. Well, I probably could, but anyway, but
Yeah,
yes,
you
I do.
definitely can if you want.
Right, but it's okay. I won't.
Okay,
I don't want to sound like I have Tourette's. So that's what happens in my car when that happens.
okay, that's a good one. I like that
Anyway,
one.
that's my number one pet peeve right now, at least, because it's happened a few times and recently.
That's a solid one. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Which one do I want to go with? Like I said, I'm not going to go through all these. I know we're already long on time, which is not a surprise anymore. Um, let me see.
Again, this was a 50-50 from the other like part two quitting kind of with randoms, and then the rest of it is our couple of pet peeves. So
Yeah, and PDA, which is a whole. I kind of wish I would have saved that for a whole nother episode.
we
Um,
can we'll get into it. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
all right.
Hmm.
So the other one, okay, well, another one I have is okay. This drives me crazy, and hopefully I've never done this. I mean, I'm sure I've done this at some point. If I ever catch myself doing this, I get really mad at myself. But when I see people either do it to me, or more specifically, if I see someone else do this to another person, this really bothers me. And when you're in a conversation with someone, so like if I'm talking to you, Deb, and you're talking to me about something, and you're sharing some thoughts, if I start looking past you because there's another nearby conversation that I'm more interested in or has caught my attention, I'm like, I hate that with so much passion because it's super disrespectful to the person you're speaking to.
Mm,
And it's
good
just
one.
super rude because you're not present. You might as well just say, hey, just time out. I'm done with this conversation. The one over there is more interesting. I'm gonna go over there. Like that would to me would be less rude than you standing there pretending like you care about the conversation while you're looking over that person's shoulder, or keep looking to the side like this because whatever has caught your attention in the background is more interesting to you. I hate that with so it's super rude. It's super rude. And if you can say like, hey, excuse, like if you hear something that you need to attend to, just say, oh, excuse me, give me 1 second. Do something. But the idea of like I think some people literally think like I'm gonna stand here, but like you can tell in their eyes they are waiting to get through this conversation so they can go to another spot. Like that drives me nuts. And I'm gonna be honest, like I feel like I can pick up on those things pretty well. Like I've seen some people like they're not picking up on it and they're just good for them because it's not gonna hurt their feelings or bother them, but they just keep talking, even though the person they're talking to clearly doesn't care.
Yeah.
I'm not that way. And I imagine you're the same way. I see it immediately. And then inside of me is like, I'm so angry right now because part of me is like, you know what? I can talk for a long time. I have a podcast. I have 2 podcasts. I can keep this going. You'll never get to that conversation that you want to get to. But yeah, I hate that. It bothers me. Like I said, it bothers me more when it happens to me. It's like, okay, this is kind of dumb that you're doing this. But when I see someone else do it to another person, that really bothers me.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally know what you mean. That's happened to me. Honestly, that hasn't happened to me with like my friends, my friends, like my close friends.
Yeah.
Um, with some like acquaintances, or let's say I see someone out in public, like that's happened before, like they will dart their eyes away and pretend they go, uh-huh, uh-huh. And then for a second be like, and then just kind of basically to say, okay, well, it's nice seeing it, and then like leave. And I'm like, okay, bye. Like, whatever. They're obviously wanting to go do something else. I don't care. But yeah, my friend, here's what I do sometimes, and I try not to, is that if I'm out in public and I'm talking, and my someone, whoever I'm talking to, is telling me a story or whatever, which is usually what happens, story time, right? But if my peripherals see something like a quick moving thing or something that is like, it's almost more like a safety thing. I'm a female. We have to be careful with our surroundings. So like I'll just move my head really quick to look and see, like, did I see what I just saw? And then go back. Like, so I'll do that sometimes, but I
Not the
won't.
same though.
I right, but I won't veer off and like, because if I'm having a conversation with someone, plus I am diagnosed myself with a little bit of ADD or ADHD, whatever. Because like if I'm not looking at you until, I'm not going to pay attention. Like I need to like pay attention to what you're saying,
Sure.
because I feel like crap if I would miss something. Because sometimes I'll even like, my thoughts will just wander sometimes, right? So
Hmm.
if I'm not focused on you, then if I'm looking somewhere else, I'm definitely not paying attention. But
Sure.
like I've done the whole dart my eyes really quick to the side, look, and then look back.
Right.
But not a ton, just like every once in a while. But I don't even like doing that, and it's annoying and I feel bad, but like, again, I have to pay attention to my surroundings. So even if I'm out on a date, I feel bad, but sometimes like beyond, if I'm talking to them like this, beyond them, I'll see something and I'll just like look really quick and then look back. Like I'll just kind of, I have to look around. But yeah, that is rude to kind of like look off to the distance.
Yeah, and I'll clarify too. I have no problem because I don't know, again, maybe I can tell and other people can't. Like I feel like I can tell the difference between,
Yeah.
again, in your situation, being aware of your surroundings. Like if you and I were talking and I saw your eyes dart like that, that wouldn't bother me. Now if it was like we're talking and you're locked in, and I because you can just there's a certain part of the
Yeah.
body language that you can tell. It's
Yeah.
not just that you're glancing over because you heard a loud bang, right? Or
Yeah.
you heard like you saw some like uh kind of like strange movements by a person that you don't trust, right? Like it's like I gotta keep an eye on that person. It's nothing like that. It's very much like this person, you can tell by their body language, like with their eyes and with their head, they're almost trying to like almost like physically leaning away from you and kind of towards the direction that they want to go or the conversation they want to be a part of. It's like
Yeah.
you can just there's something about it you can tell. It's like, okay, this is not you being aware of your surroundings. This is you not wanting to be here right now because there's something else that's more interesting to you. So like, yeah, I get that. And some people may see that as a form of what I'm saying. Me personally, I don't see it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like especially like if I've been out with my wife, there's been times where we're talking and that something like that will happen. And obviously we know each other pretty well. So,
Right.
I can tell it's like, okay, she saw something that we need to be aware of, especially with, out in public with kids and stuff like that. Like
Right.
there is that thing. I don't take that offensively at all. In fact,
Right.
I would be more offended if she didn't. That's her being a good mom. You
You're
know what I
like,
mean?
hey, help me pay attention.
Yeah, yeah. So we gotta be aware of that stuff. So
Yeah.
that's not it at all. But like, when there's no threat in sight, then it's like, you just don't want to be a part of this conversation. Like, just tell
Yeah.
me. It's like, hey, I'm done here. Like, all right, that was
I'm done
weird.
here.
But at least I don't have to waste my time saying a bunch
Yeah.
of things that you're probably not going to hear anyways. Because like you said, a lot of times it
Too.
does end like, oh, okay, it was good talking to you. It's like, oh, okay, that was weird.
Okay.
And then you realize, oh,
Right.
okay, I knew you wanted to be
Right.
somewhere else. So yeah,
So, okay. Well, that was a good one because it definitely has happened to me before. So,
it's the
yeah,
worst.
it's the worst. That's annoying. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's bad as my car turning thing, but it's pretty annoying.
Well, no one's life's on the line of mine.
What?
No one's life's on the line of mine. It's not like a like
I
a
know.
like $100,000 repair if you bump into someone else's car and scrape the side, like the window or the side of your mirror off. So yeah, yours
This is
yours has
true.
some bigger
No,
ramifications. Mine's just irritation.
still annoying. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Got it. Now, I know we've been talking for a while, but just what I mean, the other one that I wrote down for mine, and not as serious as what mine, or even annoying as probably not as annoying as the one you just said, but for some reason it's a in my head, and maybe my feelings get hurt for a second, or maybe I'm just like, ugh, rude, but and I feel like we've said it before, and if we did, I'll just say it again, or maybe you've said it, but when people like don't hold the door open for you in public. So let me like paint you a picture. So if
I'm with you, by
and
the way.
yeah, and I could think of maybe just a couple of times that this has happened to me, like at my apartment complex. Not a ton. People are really nice around here. But you have to open these two big, doors to get into my building to like put a code in and stuff. And I get it because maybe it's not smart to just let whoever in. If people are like, I don't know if you actually live here or whatever. But if I'm like right behind someone and they did their code and I'm just like maybe 10 steps away, like walking in from the parking lot,
Sure.
and they literally look at me and they see that I'm coming towards like behind them, and they open the door and they let themselves in and they just let the door shut.
Hmm.
And like, I mean, man or woman, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying it like, oh, men have to hold the doors up. I'm just like, thanks, and I just
Yeah.
do my code and I go. But I mean, on one hand, I get it for safety. I mean, I hold the door open for everybody. Like, I don't know if I should do that, but like, if I see someone near me, I'll
Yeah.
use the door. I'll be like, here you go, come on in. Um, that, and at the grocery store, too. Like, just like, I'm clearly right behind you. Like, you can't like I'm not saying you have to stand off to the side and hold it open and let me go in first, but like you can at least open it, and like as you're turning to like walk inside, like kind of keep it open for a second. And then like, I don't know, it's just obviously it's not like something to lose sleep over, but it's annoying because it's almost like you look at me and you're like, "Meh, you can open your own door." Yes.
You look like the kind of lady that probably makes the man pay for dinner too on a date.
Right. And I collect flowers,
Yeah.
which I barely keep alive, by the way. So,
Well, that's
but
nice. It's a nice. No, yeah, no, I'm with you.
I don't
I
know.
don't know why I
No,
just had this
I
image
get
of you at the grocery store, just like standing in front of like an automatic door, just getting irritated at people. Like, why did they hold the door for me? Like,
it. I know, right? Like it's rude.
I don't know why I pictured that. I know you're not dumb. That's just, I don't know. It's like it's
You
late. That might be the problem.
maybe not. Okay, yeah. Grocery stores do have
No,
sliding.
I'm
Like,
just, I'm joking. I
well,
know what you mean.
when I go to Ulta, that's not a sliding door. It's like an open door. It's like you pull the handle and stuff.
Yeah, no,
So
I'm being silly. I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. Um, because yeah, it does happen quite a bit, and you make a good point. Like that is, if you're talking about your apartment situation, that is a little tricky.
yeah,
It's
it's
still a
true.
bummer, but it is a little tricky. because, like you said, there is a safety thing. But I also understand it from your perspective. You're getting home late at night, you know, and you see someone just like, you know, you would hope that someone would just kind of there would be some common sense there and understand, especially if you've seen the person before. It's like, oh, she lives here. This is
Right.
also a uh, potential safety concern, right? Like you would hope that just humanity, people that are near you, would be concerned about your safety as well in
Yeah.
that situation. So I can understand that how that tension
Yeah.
would make it even more irritating. Um, the grocery store, there's no excuse for it. Like in my opinion,
No excuse for it.
yeah, it's like
Everybody's welcome in the grocery store.
it happens at like fast food places too, or restaurants. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
hey, buddy, you could, I mean, you can calm down. You'll get your burger. Just hold me. Just wait 1 second. Hold the door. Like I don't understand it, especially yeah, especially when if you ever see it happen to like an elderly person, it's like,
Oh
what are you
my God.
doing?
You're a
Or
monster.
like a mom, like a single mom that has like 3 kids at the grocery store. Like you're not gonna hold the door open for her. Like what are you doing?
Yeah. When again, you don't have to like, I mean, that'd be nice. I mean, it's nicer, I guess, if you want to, you don't have to step aside and let them go. Like you can at least let yourself in and just kind of hold the door open behind you or something and like then let them grab it and then they can follow you in. Like, because some people are like, I got here first type thing. You can at least keep it like propped open for them for a little bit. But some people are like, nope, I'm just gonna walk in and they can let it shut right in front of their face. I
And so
don't
I
know.
feel like, yeah, no, I feel like it's a timing thing. Again, I'm not as nice as you, Deb. I feel like if you have time to hold the door and step to the side,
Well,
you
yeah.
should do it. The only time I think it's okay for you to like go through and hold it is like if you're like halfway through the door already,
Yes.
then you do it. But if you like you said, if you like, I gotta be first, but I'll let you in. It's like, well, that defeats the purpose. Just hold the door. Like because even in certain situations where it's like if you're going to the bank, right, and you know that by holding the door for someone else, there's a very strong possibility that they're going to go in and they're going to take that one place in line that would have been yours if you would have gone in first, right? That's okay. It's not that big of a deal. It's all good. And there's
Yeah.
a good chance they're not going to like say, "Oh, you were here first." Like it happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
Usually it doesn't. And it's like, who
Yeah.
cares? It just there's something about just doing like it's just like a kind gesture for like that for someone.
Exactly.
And the sad thing is, and I'm sure you've experienced before, some nowadays there are moments where people seem legitimately shocked if you do it. Like if I stand and hold the door for someone, they're like, "Oh, thank you." Kind of
Yeah.
like I wasn't expecting this at all. This is a kind of a
Yeah.
weird thing. That shouldn't be the case. It should just
Mhm.
be a normal thing. See, now you got me fired up over this thing, Deb. This was even my
The
pet peeve.
door's open.
This wasn't even my pet peeve, but like it
Well,
doesn't make any sense to me.
when I try to teach, so my high school kids, the teenagers that I work with, the gym, we have, the gym doors usually will be propped open for them when we're transitioning, when we're going in and out of the gym, whatever. But sometimes that door stopper thing isn't there and a kid will be holding the door open. And every time I make sure to like say out loud, I say their name and I say, thank you for holding the door open. And the kids that are walking in, if they don't say anything, I'm like, excuse you, say
Hmm.
they're holding so and so is holding the door open. What are you guys going to say? So I try to make it a big deal. And the kid
Yep.
that's holding the door open is never embarrassed because it's a different kid every time. So I know that they appreciate that, but it's like I am I'm like our youth. You guys don't even understand. So I'm like I try to teach them that that's a nice thing and you better say thank you and you better hold the door open too. Like why don't you hold the door open? Like it's and so yeah, because adults, when you get to your adult like you could tell the ones who were the ones that didn't hold the door open or just like walked right through without saying thank you and like without looking up. It's like okay
Oh,
sir,
that's the
you're not
worst.
entitled to this door open, like seriously.
Someone should
i
have slammed in your face.
i I think this only happened to me like one time and I can't recall when and where, but I hate it even more when, and I hate to play gender roles, but like a female opens a door and holds it open for someone, and a male walks in and doesn't even say anything. I'm like,
Hmm.
sure, what's wrong with you? Like, what?
Okay. No, I agree. Um,
So,
no,
like,
yeah.
I remember that happening one time, and I'm just like looking at them, like, yeah, you're welcome. Like, what is wrong with you? Okay,
Well,
whatever.
like you said, there's just like this weird self-centered thing that's just
Yeah.
present in that person. I'm like, this is sad. Like you should have,
Yeah.
you should be
Yeah.
more aware. And in that situation, yeah, I agree. And people may not agree with that. I was gonna ask you this too. Because I've this has happened a couple times, and it's always a little bit weird. I don't know how you feel about this. Because again, this is not meant like when I hold the door for someone, man or woman, it doesn't mean anything, right? Like all it means is that I'm trying to do the kind thing, the right thing for humanity, right? Like just by doing this simple act. There have been some times where like I'll hold the door open for like a woman, and there's like a little bit of a thing where it's like she's not super thrilled that I did that. Kind of like I don't need you to open the door. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't need you to open this door for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's only happened a couple of times. It's like, well, I'm not doing this because you're a woman. I'm doing this because you were behind me and you're a human being that's coming to this door. Dude, woman, child, old person, doesn't matter. Like I was gonna hold this door open anyways. But like there have been a couple of times where they've looked at me like, I don't need you to do this for me. It's like, well, do you want me to let the door go? Or now we're in a weird like standoff, like I don't have to do here. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Is that I don't think it's
It's,
normal, but it does
well,
happen sometimes.
it's just like an ultra, I don't even know what term to use. It's like an ultra feminist to like ultra masculine thing that some women might tend to do in terms of like, I don't need anybody's help. I don't need a man to do anything for me, blah, 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 blah. I mean, and they want to live like that. Cool. Like, I don't care. You do your thing. But at the same, I don't want to live my life like that. If someone wants to be nice and hold the door for me, I like, thank you. Like, I'm not gonna feel like this helpless damsel in distress or that I can't do anything. I pay my own bills. Like I know what I can do. But if you want to hold the door open for me, or if you want to get me flowers, or if you want to, whatever, like, thank you. Great.
Sure, sure.
Sounds
Because
amazing.
it's more about the gesture. It's
Well,
not about
yeah,
you personally.
exactly. Well,
Yeah,
right, exactly. It's not about like, oh, like you can't do anything for yourself. Let me do this for you, which some women tend to feel, I guess. So, but yeah, I get it. Some
sure.
women are like, yeah,
Yeah. Well, I don't
yeah.
think I have a bunch of other ones, but I don't think I'm going to share them right now. I'm going to save them. Can
Okay.
I will say this. This. Well, go ahead. What'd you say?
We could save them for pet peeves part 4,
Part four.
which,
There's more coming, and I'll
yeah,
probably like my list will change. It'll be
okay.
completely different.
It'll continue. I'm sure something else will bug me next time too.
Okay, I will say one more thing, and I hate to end the show
Okay.
on this note. I don't want this to be offensive to you at all, uh, but it might be. You know what? You know what? Another pet peeve of mine is, and
Huh.
this is specifically not even directly at you, but like just in general. I
What?
don't like when people because you've done episodes with Crystal Rose about this. I
Okay.
don't like when people use the terms alpha and beta a lot. It's just a weird thing to me. Like I understand the concept. I understand like it's an important thing to
Yeah.
talk about. Like, but like
Yeah.
when some like if some dude's like that guy is an alpha, why are we doing this? What is this
Well,
conversation about right now? Or like that guy's a beta. Like why you didn't
who
need
do
to?
you hang out with that says that a lot? I literally no one that I hang out with says, and it's just I
No, no,
literally
no. These
talk
aren't
to
people I hang. No,
people
hold
about
on. These aren't people I hang out with. I'm just saying like you hear it on
it. Okay.
podcasts. I mean,
Oh, okay,
these
okay.
terms. I'm just saying in general. These terms have. I mean, you'll even overhear it. Like you hear stuff at the gym. Like you just hear these are common terms that people use. And my thing is again, and you guys kind of touched on it. Like you don't. I think it's more the label of it is weird to me. Like like
Yeah.
I got listened to a podcast or something. It's like, oh, that guy's a beta. It's like, well, yeah. I mean, look at him. You don't need it. Like, did you need to label it? Of course, he's made a lot of dumb decisions, and he seems to be very insecure. We don't need to label this. He seems like that, or like
Yeah.
this guy's 6'4", seems very confident. That guy's an alpha. And I didn't say it. You didn't even say it, did you? Like the idea, just people, because it's something I feel like people use that all the time, and they feel
Yeah.
the need to label people in that way. And just those words specifically drive me crazy. That being said, it was a good episode.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think it's good to know the distinction between the two if you want to know the distinction. Some people don't care. Like not everyone needs to know the distinction. For me personally, and for probably a lot of females, I don't know, it's good. It was just good to know the distinction to like here's an actual respectable man and here's an asshole over
Sure.
here. Like and just like separate the two.
And so
But
I think if you use those terms, that doesn't bother. That's like, yeah, that's
I
like, I guess that's the thing. Like, why are we using these other silly
why are
terms
we using
versus
alpha and
just
beta? Right. So, I mean, I don't know,
because what you
but
just said,
yeah.
that's very clear. If you don't understand that, you're an idiot, right?
Yeah.
Like
But some
alpha
people
beta, that's
think that
like
the asshole, no, but some people think that the asshole is the alpha. And so that's why, and I don't know, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's why, but some guys do think that still, like, I don't know. Some people literally think that that is still the alpha. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't matter, but
no, it doesn't matter. Like I said, you guys, it was a
right.
great episode. I'm not diminishing the episode. It
No,
was a
I know,
great
I know.
episode. You guys did a great job.
That's
I'm just
crazy.
saying,
I haven't heard people use that term a ton, but that's interesting that you've heard it like on podcasts and stuff. So no wonder you're annoyed. You're like, can we stop using this term?
yeah, because I
So
mean, like you think like I listen to a lot of comedy
yeah,
podcasts, but I listen to a lot of sports podcasts. You know, where that type
right.
of stuff is going to be more
Yeah,
present. You know what I mean? And like I said, just different things that I see, read, like that is a more common. Those are more common terms now. And I think part of the problem for me is
funny.
like it's like you said, you could look at it different ways. There's what a stereotypical version of those words would mean.
Yeah.
There's what you guys discussed, both
Hmm.
for men and women on the podcast episode you guys did. There's a lot to it. I think that's where part of the pet peeve. That's what, like, kind of like a pet peeve of mine. It's like there's so much nuance to those words
Yeah.
potentially, and people see it in such a different way.
Yeah.
Like I feel like labeling someone that is not even helpful when people have those conversations, or like when they're trying to decide, like, you know, is this person alpha, beta? I'm like, well, I feel like I'm wasting my
Yeah.
time listening to this conversation because I feel like, you know, and
Yeah.
again, you guys explaining what you guys feel the differences are and the misconceptions. Like I said, I'm not just saying this because you're on the show and I'm directly addressing this with you. It's just I have no problem with that. But when you want, it's like, oh, that guy is an alpha, that guy's a beta, that
Yeah.
woman's a. I'm like, why are we doing it? It's just
Yeah.
something about the word. I'm like, this just seems silly. Maybe
I
it's a
think
beta move. I don't know.
no, that's excessive. And I think that to generalize maybe is probably not a good idea. And to, if you don't know the person, especially, and just like on first glance or first conversation or whatever, or just by looking at that, like it's, it's something that doesn't need to be, yeah, I don't think you need to label it. I think just for me personally, I personally just try to distinguish the two for my own personal like dating life, and for me that's it. Like I don't go walking down the streets in my head be like, oh, that's an alpha female, that's a beta female, that's a beta male. No, like I don't know
Hold the
them.
door open for me, beta.
I can't. What?
You better hold that door open, beta.
Right? No, I think, yeah, I
Yeah.
think there's definitely an excessive use of those words possibly, and then it can get abused, and then it's just
Yeah.
not used for the correct reasons, you know. So
Yeah.
anyway.
And that's just my thing. That probably sums it up best. I'm like, I just don't understand why we're using these words, why we feel the need to do this all the time. But you know, again, I just need to change the podcast I listen to. Not going to happen. I enjoy them too much, but no, just you hear that term and it's
Yeah.
like, that's silly. Well, it's like the same, you know, again, this is one of those things I hear and it just makes me chuckle sometimes.
Yeah.
Quote or that phrase, lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of sheep. I'm like, all right, I can do without that one now. That one's been overused, but it's always used in those terms. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
When you're talking about the beta alpha thing, I'm like, okay,
I don't know.
I'm done
Maybe
with
it's
it.
a guy thing. Maybe guys, maybe they just want to size people up. I don't know. I don't know. You could tell me
Oh
maybe
yeah.
it's a thing. Females don't really discuss a ton of that, I don't think. Just maybe just more like what me and Crystal talk about. Just know the difference and boom, that's it. Just know the difference for yourself for when you're looking for a guy, you know, whatever. But we don't, I don't know any other girl that goes up and down the street or talks about like alpha, like, and starts labeling. So could be a dude thing.
Well, and you know, I think if I remember correctly, the reason you were talking about it was because of um, like a recent interaction on a date, right?
Right.
So
Right. And it
I'm in a
wasn't just a walking down the street and I'm just looking at them. This was like several interactions and several, and me trying to understand their behavior.
right.
So yeah.
Well,
I
and
mean,
so yeah, my whole point with that is that I'm obviously not in that world, right?
yeah.
Like I'm married. I'm not trying to decide if someone is or isn't, or I'm not trying to like examine their personality like in the same way that you are, right?
Right.
Or you were at that moment. So I feel like that probably plays a part too.
Yeah.
Where like it's not a concern for me right now. I don't need to deal with
Yeah.
this, you know.
Right. Yeah,
So
that's true.
good luck to you with that.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. This conversation has gone everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yep. Did
We're
it go
back
anywhere
to our
good?
rabbit.
Don't know.
I
So
don't know.
we'll let the listeners decide. We'll let
If we have
YouTube.
more hater comments, we'll know that it was good.
That's right.
So,
We'll let YouTube decide whether or not we're worth listening to or
exactly.
idiots. So there we go. Deb,
Yeah.
where can they follow us?
You guys can follow us on Instagram at Connectable Podcast, on Twitter at Connectable Pod. We have Facebook, and we're on TikTok at
Yep.
Connectable Podcast on the TikTok and
Yep.
YouTube.
And YouTube. Can't forget about YouTube. That's where the fun
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. That's where the comments happen.
That's right. And then as you guys already know, please head over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, your favorite podcast app, subscribe to the show. And if you could head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star rating and review, we would appreciate it. We've been stuck at 22 for a very long time. And if we can get some more ratings and reviews, it would make me very happy. It would be awesome. So not that you guys care about that, but if you want to, if you do care about that, even the slightest, head over to Apple Podcasts, leave us one of those reviews. That'd be awesome. So there we go.
There we go.
So, yeah.
All done.
All done. Right.
Next episode will be PDA. Excessive PDA.
We'll think about it. It's not off the table. I'll have to think if there's any other situations that I've come across. There's definitely more. There's definitely more.
All right.
So, all right. We will see you guys next week. See
Peace.
you. Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable Podcast.